Well, our next guest is a remarkable woman known as the mother of sharks. Cristina Zenato has spent a quarter of a century working and diving with sharks. To Cristina, her sharks are friends, family and community, and she knows almost all of them by name. And Cristina joins us from the Bahamas now. It's great to see you this morning. You say that sharks are misunderstood, and I think the movie Jaws probably had something to do with that.
Yes, the movie and some also the documentaries that we have nowadays, they still perpetrate some of the basic understanding that we have of sharks, of primarily the jaws open and the teeth, and they kind of like fail to show us the huge variety of sharks, the 520 plus species of them, and still counting. We're still finding new species of sharks as we speak. But primarily, I think they're misunderstood in their role into the ocean and actually in their very seldom interaction that they have, the negative interaction that they have with humans.
Just watching you pat these sharks now, it's absolutely
very comfortable there,
this vision, yeah.
Friendly sharks. How important is it protecting shark populations?
It's one of the most important things for many reasons. One of the things that I was just actually writing about is the sharks have been on this planet for 450 million years, and there's just so much that we can still learn from them, but also about them and the applications that go into their relationship to the ecosystem that they manage and their relationship with the ocean. And it will be absolutely devastating if we ended up having extinct sharks and then having consequences for which we cannot recover. And it's also important because what we don't understand is our life depends from the oceans, and the balance of the oceans depends also from the sharks themselves. We think about sharks just as apex predators, but there's a lot of sharks that are also mesopredators. So they're not only on the top, but they're in the middle of the food web. And as such, regulate their relationship within the herbivores and the carnivores and all the other animals that are into this environment. And so we need sharks to have healthy oceans. We need sharks if we want to have healthy fishery, for example. And half of the world still depends on fisheries in order to be able to have a healthy economy.
We are just watching you with these sharks. You obviously have an incredible bond with them. How do you befriend a shark? And how do you come up with their names? You know, do you have a Dave,
it's very
a Matt,
daunting to go. How are you?
A Dennis shark? How do you name these sharks, and how do you actually tell them apart?
Well, I can tell them apart as I can tell apart you and Tristan. To me, they have physical characteristics that make them unique. Maybe they're not as evident as human beings because obviously they don't have as unique facial features, but they do have different body sizes and colors, and even how they move, it is very different for me. The names, I picked them not in the most flattering way, meaning I actually pick names that resemble something of their physical characteristics. So, for example, if I would have to name myself, I would call myself, for example, Scar, because I have a scar underneath the eye. And what it does is someone that is not in the water as long as I am, and they come in the water and I say, hey, this is Scar, and they're like, it has a scar underneath the eye. They don't have to think, oh, Cristina is the one with the scar underneath the eye, but Sarah is the blonde one. They just think, so Sarah, instead of being called Sarah, we call Blondie, for example, and Cristina will be
So here comes Bitey. That's what they say. Sadly, just last week in Australia, a man in Queensland lost his life in a shark attack. What do you think is the best way that sharks and people can coexist?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to understand, and I'm so sorry for the family loss. It is wish no one to lose a loved one in such a manner. But at the same time, we need to understand that the ocean is their territory, and we are just guests. We have the opportunity to go and enjoy it very much, and the sharks are very tolerant of our presence. However, they do not have any other option. So sometimes we need to learn a little bit more. I always say knowledge is power. So maybe understand some locations are more critical and for shark attacks, and maybe those areas should be avoided altogether and the people should move somewhere else. Simply because maybe that is a hunting ground of the animals. Maybe that is a specific area where they look for isolated prey. Now, that attack in Queensland, for what I understand, was the first one in 60 years. So we also need to understand that it's hard to I understand it's hard for the family, but accidents do happen, and they happen to us every day when we drive a car to work, when we come out of the tub and slip and fall. And unfortunately, there are unfortunate encounters between humans and sharks, but they're so rare.
Yeah,
so rare compared.
You are doing amazing work, Cristina, with these gorgeous creatures. You can check out Cristina's amazing work at CristinaZenato.com, and also her not-for-profit arm of her business. It's called People of the Water. POW nonprofit.org is the place to go if you would like to support that. Cristina, thanks again for sharing your story and those incredible pictures.
Thank you so much for having me.